Let me just recap us.
Adair. What about Dad?
Okay. All right.
What a...
Jen.
What about Dad?
Podcast.
Welcome back to What About Dad?
TV recap and review.
I'm Adair.
I'm Jen.
This week on the Salty Supergirl Review, we'll be talking about Episode 4, Athemsa. But before we get into it, I want us to discuss the business of the day.
Jennifer Lindsay Montoya here. What About That TV recap and review announced their new Patreon account. This is a great opportunity for the podcast to grow to new heights. If you like the podcast, feel free to follow us on Twitter. Shoot on over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Maybe write a review. A little love goes a long way toward growing the cast. Back to you, Adair.
Well, thank you, Jen Lindsay Montoya. If you are new to the cast and you can tune into us on iTunes, Spotify, Player FM, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play, Podbean, Listen Notes. We even have some fun things going on YouTube. So like and subscribe. You know what to do. Back to you, Jen.
Twitterisms. This week, we are introducing a new section called Twitterisms. In an effort to build community, we are reaching out into the fandom on Twitter and pulling tweets from across the Supergirl universe. Today's focus is hashtag Guardian Corps. Appreciation Day. Let me just be clear, we are Team Supercorp. Hashtag make it real forever, ever. Through and through. But we are not about perpetuating a toxicity throughout the fandom. Shipper's gonna ship, and we respect that. So here is a tweet today from Totally Melinda, who is one of 3 Guardian Corpers. It's difficult being a Guardian Corper. You have to really fight for your space online.
So here's a tweet from Totally Melinda, who is one of 3 Guardian Corpers on Twitter. God bless you. Hashtag Supergirl. I haven't fallen for a couple this hard since Captain Swan. I also like how Lena is misunderstood because of her family name, and James is misunderstood because he's a black dude. Hashtag Guardian Corp.
Totally Melinda also writes, you mean, when are you going to end their dating and upgrade them to husband and wife? Hashtag Guardian Corp!
Dun dun da da. Totally Melinda says, so when is the lovely hashtag Guardian Corp wedding coming? Lena in a wedding dress and James in his Guardian gray suit. Hard eyes.
And those were the Twitterisms. Thank you, Guardian Corp, for keeping us grounded. All 3 of you, we appreciate you.
Stay tuned, because at the end of the cast, we'll be doing a dramatic podfic entitled We're Over by This Is Anna 47. The link will be in the description. And now...
It's time for the Salty Supergirl.
we have our favorite part of the day, Jen's dramatic synopsis reading.
Alex Danvers in pursuit of Mercy and Otis Graves. Where in the world is
Mercy and Otis?
For poisoning the atmosphere with kryptonite while stilling with an internal coup within the DEO. Kara/Supergirl wakes up from last week's crypto coma
Surprise, motherfucker!
to discover she's stuck in a Power Ranger suit, which is powered by TLC,
Don't go chasing waterfalls,
aka Luther Love,
near, far, wherever you are.
and is singularly the only thing in the quantifiable universe which can filter the kryptonite out of Kara's system. Brainiac confirms he has the capacity for emotions, especially ones concerning Supergirl's well-being.
I can't do it, Captain. I don't have the power.
Jean meets Manchester Black, who is searching for his fiancée, Fiona, aka Alien Woman, who was abducted weeks ago in episode 1, American Alien. Lena and Brainiac need to come up with a solution to filter the kryptonite out of the air. One word, nanites. Agent Jansen gets a worm in his ear, which is karma. And that's what happened on Supergirl.
Conflict of the week.
Agent Liberty has bedazzled aliens and unleashed them on National City in an effort to stoke anti-alien flames. Alex Danvers must stop them without the aid of Supergirl, who is stuck in a Power Ranger suit.
You guys, this episode, let's talk about it. So let's get into Kara / Supergirl / Russian Supergirl. Oi.
She's all of it.
Jen, what were you thinking about her in this episode?
I was thinking that I really, really enjoyed Kara's limitations because it enabled Alex Danvers. Like, Alex Danvers' main cast, and it's been a while since we've seen her really have a storyline which was evolved around her. So whilst Supergirl is stuck in a suit, you really find yourself questioning, can Alex Danvers, to this week's occasion?
No, I get that. I like the fact that she was limited English.
She was limited, yeah. In her Power Ranger suit, which is it's a really an oxymoron because the Power Rangers, they can do anything in their power suits. I'm just saying.
We're gonna have to break this power suit down real quick. I love Twitter so much, and I love how we have detectives, and I love how inconsistent the writers are on Supergirl. So if any of you guys saw the screen grab of Supergirl or Kara inside the helmet, it pretty much proves that Lena Luthor knows Kara's Supergirl. It's my favorite thing, because it literally says on it that Kara is a Kryptonian, like in the lettering in her eyeballs. When it goes up to Alex, it's like sister of Kara. Like the suit can recognize people Kara would know.
Facial recognition.
Recognition. And then when Kara, like, it says it that she's Kryptonian. Like, why would Lena just happen to
have that technology built into the suit?
And
because
it says,
she's a fucking genius. Because Lena Luthor is a genius.
Exactly. But the thing is, it doesn't say Supergirl. It says Kara. So, like,
she's like, not only does it say Kara, but it says her Starbucks order. It's like mocha latte and light with whipped cream and shavings of spearmint on top.
It's so dumb. But, I mean, just Twitter. Thank you for finding that gem. Because, like, it just kept getting worse the more evidence showed up on that screen. It's like,
I feel like I'm a real professional on this topic of Kara's Power Ranger suit because I am a huge Power Ranger fan. Like, I didn't quit with dinosaurs. I went all the way to deep space.
What was your favorite one?
The Turbo Rangers.
I was here for the Rangers Time Force because I love that love story.
Oh, I love the Time Fair. Are you with Jen?
Yeah,
okay.
That was the best.
I'm like a professional when it comes to Power Rangers, and when you add it with Supergirl, I'm like, oh, you guys, I'm ready for this. Are we morphing? Is it time? Let's do it. So I was really excited for the Power Rangers suit. I couldn't understand why Kara was doing so much fighting in it, because Lena Luthor specifically designed it with just enough energy to, in the case of an emergency, filter out all the kryptonite out of her body, but like not do more, And Kara was really pushing her limits. And I feel like even if like Lena Luthor added another AA battery into the suit just to give it extra juice, like it was beyond what Lena Luthor had anticipated. And I was like, Kara, you gotta rest, child. You really, really do, because this is literally keeping you alive, and you need to think about it. Does the world need you right now, or does the world need you in general? In the future.
The thing, okay, so somebody had mentioned this, and it's been bothering me for a while as well. I'm so glad a lot of us tend to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Kara on Krypton was ahead of her. She was exceptional. She was kind of Cervantes in a way. She was in the same classes as Alex. She's younger than Alex, but because she's so smart, she was in higher classes, things like that. So
she's a prodigy.
Yeah, she's a prodigy. I'm kind of annoyed and kind of getting tired. I mean, God knows I love Lena and I love Brainy, but Kara's actually not stupid. She's not all bronze. She has a lot of brains. she actually does know more scientific stuff, at least comically so, than they portray her in the show. And I kind of wish that they would make Supergirl a little smarter. Because, I mean, you can't have a sister like Alex know everything under the sun as well. And I think with the Danvers sisters, they've kind of dumbed them down and made them more brawny than brains. And I think you can be all of it. You can be attractive, funny, smart, and, you know,
You could
a
be
badass.
Russian.
But the thing is, the reason I mention this is because even while Kara's in her super suit and doing all this stuff, it would have explained away why she was being reckless with her energy saving. Because, like, somebody who might know more or, like, go off their gut, you know, that kind of thing that a lot of leads do in action films. I was just doing it for my gut when it goes past logic.
It comes from the heart.
Yeah,
when
that
you're-
kind of thing.
when
It
you're
would have
a
been
lead.
cool for her to be like, I know I'm only at whatever capacity, but I think if my molecular structure does this, then I can go a little longer. Like, show me that she's not
Little
just
silence, yeah.
a little science. Show me that she's being not necessarily, she's being reckless, yes, but she has a feeling that her knowledge is backed up by it. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, who doesn't want to know that Kara's smart too? Because when Lena and Kara have to go on these kombucha dates, what are they talking about? Not just fashion, which is excellent, by the way. They're talking about, you know, other things. And I think that,
Spice Girl reunion.
I don't know. I just want Kara to be
I
smarter.
feel like they would be talking about that. No, I agree with you entirely. Having a way for Kara to be on the same page academically with Brainiac and
or at
Alina
least
with
close to the same wave. Like, maybe not
Yeah,
even, you know,
no, like
something.
just understanding the science. They're using technology that is beyond what we know, human capacity, but they all seem to be on the same page.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I thought that the actress did a great job of doing voice work in the suit, because that wasn't her body, that was her stunt double. And I was like, it's gotta be weird, putting your voice on top of a
Well, no.
super suit.
Well, I mean, they're doing the ADR, which is really kind of cool. And I actually have to give props to Melissa for just having her face in a box with a camera and acting
I
like
thought
you're
that was
inside.
a great
Yeah.
job. Yeah.
I loved also the third-person shooter angle that they gave us. I thought that was really cool. It reminded me of all the video games that I play, just very like Doomish. And
Yeah. I really
thought it was
enjoyed it. I got a Tony Stark vibe.
yeah,
But you know what? It was so refreshing to see that on a woman. Like, it really was. And I one of the things I really did get was how claustrophobic. Like, I actually kind of wish they'd played this up a little bit more. That Kara has claustrophobia.
Yeah.
She doesn't like being in small spaces. So what that would have meant to her being stuck in a suit temporarily, forever. How scared she was.
Well, I
I
saw
wish we
some-
could have gotten that a little bit more.
I saw somebody mention this because they go, "Oh, I'm claustrophobic too." They were like, "If I was on life support and needed to be in an enclosed space," she goes, "I would probably be able to get over it because my brain goes, it's survival." Or I would stop thinking about the fact that I'm enclosed because of survival. Like, they were saying that some people's brains can get turned off, like, because she's in the suit for survival. She doesn't think of claustrophobia. But if she was, like, in a box, then that'd be a different story. I guess it's, like, tricking your mind into believing. But I would absolutely think that'd have been interesting to kind of, for at least a moment, touch on. Also, I'm kind of bummed that we only got an episode of the suit. They hyped it up, even though it wasn't that great looking.
It was super hyped. It was like at all the Comic Cons. It was the one thing they wanted to talk about. It was
Yeah.
like this cool ass suit. You know what it was? They were like, I feel like the show knew it was Power Rangers. They were like, but this is the only way we can excuse away Melissa Benoist not being here for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's just own the narrative. Let's make this the coolest fucking suit we've ever seen in our lives. And the audience, they're gonna like, think, oh, Iron Man, not Power Rangers. But the audience was like, no, girl, that's Power Rangers. And they put them right in the place where Power Rangers belong.
It's true.
And I mean, I actually kind of wish I got a half season of Kara in the suit. Like, I really want to.
Yeah.
You know what? You convinced me, CW. I want to own this. I want to live in that Power Ranger suit for a hot second. I want to see what it could do. I want to see it fly.
I really wanted to see. Well, that's the thing. Okay, a few things. Few gripes about the suit. Not that it's unattractive. I want Supergirl in pantsuit. I think that's going to be so much more functional. I think elements of the suit would have been great to keep going with. Because she can't be in space and all this stuff, we got to figure out the consistency of that. Like, is she ever going to be able to go to space? Can she be underwater? Like, Superman could do all these things, and she can do, like, one of them, you know? If she's going to be Supergirl, I need it to make sense. Let's have her be able to get off world eventually, because that can make more storylines or whatever. But what I would love in regards to the suit, you know, possibly like, what do you call it? Yeah, have the pants and have all that stuff. But what they missed the opportunity on this episode was a really, really good Supergirl fight scene. Because it's not Melissa and they could have had just the stunt double, we could have had some really, really cool looking physical fight scenes and shot well, because the actress wouldn't be limited to the fact that she's not a fighter. Yeah, you would have Melissa in the suit, like, giving faces and grunts and things like that, which
But she's good at that. She's
great at pulling face, you know?
Excels.
But I think we missed out on a really fun fight scene, and then have her, like, her suit shut down. But then when the suit booted back up, I would have loved to see more, you know?
Although I did feel like there was a moment where Mercy or Otis, they had like the gun against her helmet. I did feel like that was a moment where she did seem very vulnerable despite the suit. And, you know, the suit was flouted as like kind of like this fighting mech suit, which I'm down for. I love the mechness of this world. We've seen the Luthor suit, we've seen the super suit. I love mechs. So, but like I feel like it was actually a medicinal suit, so it kind of, it didn't have all the cool stuff that we thought it was going to get.
Well, also, something interesting with the suit and the idea, they're holding a gun to Supergirl's head. I get she's weakened. I get that. But, like, are those bullets in that gun kryptonite bullets? Because she's still the woman of steel, so, like...
It just might be headache bullets, you know?
Yeah, like, you might get a headache if you get shot in the head, but I don't think it'd kill her. I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you guys think about that? All right, moving on to her sister, because Alex is always Alex.
I want to bring up a Kara Alex thing that so what I liked about this episode was that we saw a different aspect of the Danvers sisters' relationship. We've known they've worked together for quite some time. This is the first time that Alex has ever been really the leader or boss of Kara. So we saw a different power dynamic at stake, where Alex had the authority to tell Kara she could or couldn't do something. And I thought it was just more interesting. We've been watching these sisters for 2 years and how they interact in every kind of way, every capacity. It was so much more, Alex being the DEO director creates so many more layers than we ever thought possible. And I really, really enjoyed seeing Alex pull rank on Kara. And it also really made me wonder to what capacity Kara is an employee at the DEO. Because Kara has always, like, the show is always being like, oh, she's a reporter, but she's not a reporter. She's like an intern at Catco, or she's like an underling at Catco. She hasn't earned her stripes, right? So we assume she doesn't make enough money and that she has to live in the rent control part of town that's been made fact by an interaction between her and Lena Luthor. So it's like, how much money is the DO paying Kara to be Supergirl? I kind of want to know. I want to know the logistics of her contract. You know, like clearly she's an employee, but like, I don't know, how much money should you make for flying through the air, stopping crime and fighting evil baddies?
I don't know.
Kara, they depict her as way more like below the income poverty line than she actually probably is. She has 2 jobs and she works probably over 40 hours a week. Just saying. It just really made me wonder about her role at the DEO and what that contract might look like for private vigilante freelancer.
I really liked Alex and Kara, and I liked Alex in this a lot because we see the desperation. We see that she kind of is out of control because she's not sure about herself and she's not comfortable yet being the leader. But when she gets stressed out, we all know Alex does 2 things. She either kicks ass or drinks when she's stressed out. And I do have to admit, I'm kind of happy that they've cooled the whole drinking thing down. Because you'd think that now that she's running stuff and things aren't going right, you would see her with like a glass of scotch, as she does, or like bourbon. But they've cooled that down, so thanks for that. But, you know, her yelling at at Supergirl. She wasn't yelling at Kara. And I think that's something people are kind of forgetting. Kara is a little problematic when she's Supergirl. She's very pig-headed. She's very much like, well, I can do this, so I don't need to do A, B, and C. You know, and Alex wasn't yelling at her sister. And I think a lot of people go, oh, well, because her sisters have this dynamic. But it's much like how Maggie said, I love Kara, but it's Supergirl I have an issue with. I think that this is the first time Alex, and I kind of wish they didn't back away from it at the end of the episode, first time Alex also sees how frustrating Supergirl is. You know, it's like you don't take orders because you assume you're better or more capable. And she very well may be, but that's not the order. See, Kara followed Jean because she respected him almost as a father figure and respecting her elders type situation. But because it's her sister, she's kind of just like poo-pooing her information, you know? So I don't know. I just think that Alex is finally dealing with Supergirl and not Kara, you know? And she's frustrated. And she's like, just listen to me. I outrank you, you know? And I love the fact that she got in her face about it. I was here for it. I was like, yeah, sister. Ah! I was all for it. What'd you think?
I love that, but I also really enjoyed in this episode Alex and Jean's scene. So right after we see Supergirl's incapacitated, we see Jean get really upset. And it's like one of the things is he continues to be a huge advocate for Alex's leadership. He never says anything that imposes on it or says that he has a regret for giving up his power and giving it to Alex, which is something I really, really, really enjoy about this character. If anything, he questions his own resolve as being a peacekeeping force in the world and using his powers on a larger scale, but just for the power of peace.
He's Gabrielle this season.
He's gone full Gabby. I really enjoy that analogy. Thank you. You know, he's a pacifist. Yes. He's gone full pacifist. And I feel like, but he's never been the kind of man who was like, I gave you power, now I want it back.
No, of course.
I see you're not doing a good job. But I feel like that for him being in a paternal role, it is something that I really enjoy that the writers haven't imposed on Alex. So what we get in the scene is really kind of showing Alex in power again, where she's capable of putting away her personal conflict and comforting Jean in the moment. You know, she tells Jean this really great line, you know, you've been living your truth, you've been living the path, you're living the path of peace, and you know, she really is supportive of him in this moment, and it was just one of those great space dad moments. What do you think?
Yeah, I really, okay, I'm kind of here for this self-discovery. Like I said, I like the Gabrielle path of like, am I a pacifist? Am I a fighter? What am I? Because even though Jean is old Martian, he's still relatively young as a Martian, and we kind of forget that. And he's still ultimately trying to figure out what kind of Martian he wants to be, what kind of man he wants to be. He's always fighting, he's always doing that, and I think he might assume like, oh, I'm a rough fighter, but really he's probably the most caring or gentle fighter there is, you know, as far as like him and Alex share that, where they can be extremely fierce, but they're doing it logically and they understand why they have to use force and things like that. So for him to question even his fighting and be like, well, you know what, I'll just be a pacifist, he's learning what the balance is. You know, you might be able to be peaceful, but still raise a fist, you know?
Yeah.
And things like that. So I think he's on that journey. I'm cool with it. I felt like both of these characters were a little outside their character. Alex has never been, when it comes to her work, she's not unconfident. She knows what she's doing. Like I said, people forget this once again, dumbing down the characters to make them more brawny. Alex was not recruited to the DEO for her fighting skills. She was recruited as a scientist who just happened to be able to fight, and her brains. And so a lot of her decision making in the company is really logical based, and then emotion, and then like using her fists, you know, if she has to. So this whole doubting herself and, oh, did you make the right choice and all this stuff, it kind of just felt not like them. I think
it felt a little Grey's Anatomy to me.
It felt
Felt like I was getting a little Lexi.
Yeah, it felt too
Like
boo-hoo,
intern
woe is
first
me.
year. Yeah.
Especially for these two characters who are literally the other two main badasses. I get Alex, maybe having a moment of wavering, like, do I have enough help? Am I making the right choices? And then affirming that with Jean, but going, oh, what was me? Oh, I don't know if I'm good enough, or it just seems a little extra. And speaking of extras, you wanted to talk about
Yes.
a group
Okay.
of DOs.
Okay. I always think it's fucking hilarious when the actors address the extras. Like, the extras are just living in another plane in the DEO. They're just passing by in the background every day wearing black. But I find it hilarious. So in this episode, we get Agent Danvers, and she gives her DEO I'm in charge speech because all hell is broken loose. They have traitors amongst them. Supergirl is down. They're going to have to go against a much stronger villain. They're just outnumbered, outgunned. And she's like, we need to stick together. And she gives the DEO extras like a speech that she would give Kara. It's very Danvers sisters, Danversian moment. And I thought it was hilarious because it's like Alex Danvers, as the director of the DEO, is actually just kind of like giving you a super mom speech. And I felt good. Like, through the TV, like, it reached me. I felt good about myself after. I was like, let's do this! What are you stupids doing? Let's do this! I also thought it was really funny when Alex was talking to Supergirl through the Power Ranger mask. Okay,
that's funny.
anytime where they had the mask lifted out and you could see Kara and the Tony Stark, you could see her face and you could see her emotions. You could see she was scared. But anytime they pulled away and showed Alex talking to Kara in her Power Ranger mask, I was just laughing so hard because Alex was giving that Power Ranger mask like all the feels, and the Power Ranger mask was just like nodding along, but it was hilarious. I just really enjoyed myself.
I literally thought, good for you, Kyler. I wonder how many times you had to do this without cracking
She's
up.
never done it. She's
I
never
believe
given up.
There had to have been a moment where she's like, I'm sure I look stupid. Like,
I feel like she was like, I feel like it just shows you her range. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to very important subject.
Lena Luthor.
And Brainy.
and Brainy.
Okay.
Lena and Brainy.
Themes of Lena and Brainy's interaction.
What would their tag be? Lena act?
I don't want to give that a tag. I don't need to
Brainiac?
launch that. I've never needed to launch that.
Well,
I don't need.
that's not a romantic. It's a bro TP. They're freaking brain TP.
They're a bro TP, but they're not like a thing.
They're a brain
I don't even
TP.
wanna-
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just gonna leave it alone. Put it back
Jen
down.
doesn't like anybody touching her Lena other than Kara. So
No, that's not true. I have no problem with Agent Corp. I have no problem with Rain Corp. You are correct. You are incorrect, madam.
Oh, okay. I forgot about this too. Okay.
Okay. So, I will launch. Bat and I will launch that ship, but I just don't feel that from Brainiac and Lena Luthor. Although I love Jesse Rath, I feel like he's done such a fabulous job humanizing this walking computer character, and in a way that has made him feel authentic. Like, I always compare Brainiac to Win, because I feel like Win, he had a lot of like, haha, see, ha 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 ha,
Yeah.
like a lot of Broadway.
Mhm.
He acted big when it came to his acting, but I feel that Brainiac makes everything very. He goes from analytical to emotional and small, and I really appreciate that in this actor. I saw Jesse Rath when he did a show, I think on the CW. It was like a space show, and he was an alien.
Probably.
Did you see it?
I
It
have
was
no
like
idea what you're
it
talking
was.
about.
You would have really liked it. It was like a space western. I forget what it was called.
Firefly.
It had the chick who
Wasn't
played
Firefly.
H.G. Wells in it from. Where?
Warehouse 13.
She was an alien, and she was like a badass in that show.
Oh.
And she was in it, yeah. And I think it had a few famous people, but Jesse Rath was in it. He came from that. I'll pull it up for you later.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, so
Yeah,
Lena
humanizing brain.
Luthor and the Power Ranger suit, though. Okay, you can. I'll let you talk about the boxes, but talk about the Power Ranger suit for a second. So Lena Luthor designs this Power Ranger suit. My only surprise was that she didn't make another. She didn't make a spare. I feel like Lena Luthor knows Supergirl / Kara Danvers to such an extent that she made a suit that would exact all the kryptonite out of a superhero Kryptonian's body, suck it out, and the suit just had just the amount of energy to function. I just feel like it goes against all Lena Luthor to not make a second one of those suits. You know what I mean?
Look.
She is misprepared. It's like one Apple TV box under the other. All she had to do was reach under her purse and grab the second one, be like, here, Kara, I made a second one.
I'm pretty sure she has a bunch of suits made for Supergirl / Kara because she knows who it is.
Yeah.
And
But how could she have, not made two? Just think about it. Testing the first one, perfecting the second one. There's got to be another one.
Hey, Nanites ain't
anyways,
cheap, okay?
Yeah, that was my only beef with Lena in this episode, but I think you have something to talk about.
I mean, look, I tweeted this out, which is Lena's boxes, because now we know why she comes off cold and hard, which we don't think she's cold at all, but people think she is, and it's because she told Brainy to put those feelings that he has. Hey, can we just talk about how funny her face was when she goes, "Are you crying?" Very much a callback to "There's no crying in baseball." That's what I got when I heard that. And he's like, "What? No, I'm not crying. You're crying." It's absolutely ridiculous. And I love that. She goes, "Put those feelings in a box. And then put that box in a smaller box. And then separate all the boxes and squish them down so you don't have any feelings." And this whole thing was very reminiscent of Emperor's New Groove, which I will add that sound bite right now for you guys.
I'll turn him into a flea, a harmless little flea. And then I'll put that flea in a box, and then I'll put that box inside of another box, and then I'll mail that box to myself. And when it arrives, I'll smash it with a hammer. It's brilliant, 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 I tell you. Genius, I say.
Favorite thing from the movie. And when she said that, it had me howling. I was like, oh, Lena, God bless you.
I liked it because it seemed out of left field, and I feel like we don't ever get really angry Lena. But really angry Lena is like Katie McGrath with Irish coming through, and it's like, oh, inflection. I missed all of that.
Well, I mean, the
But I
Luther rage,
liked it.
it's its
But
own thing.
the Luther rage gets this Irish rage. But one of the things about this scene, when you're looking at a scene as a writer, you're just kind of looking at what you're looking at what the beats they're hitting. And one of the things I noticed right away was she's like, I'm so angry, I want to kill somebody, and she inadvertently talks about, she talks about what it would be like to kill somebody for using her technology for the wrong use. And I just feel like this is a giant foreshadowing.
Huge.
And it's like a stupid one too. It's like, let me get a baseball bat, wrapped it in barbed wire, hit you over the head with it, because that's how much I need to foreshadow the fact that I am testing the waters. They've been building this woman up with plenty of reasons to be angry for 2 seasons now.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is she's always right. Everyone around her is wrong, and she just keeps getting blamed for shit that's not her fault. And now she's ready to kill somebody. And if she does kill somebody, it will eat away at her humanity, because she values her humanity above all else. She values human life, She's always said she would never cross the line into full Luthor. And I was like, well, really? Should it? Should she... If Lena Luthor were to accidentally kill somebody, would it really... Why should it destroy her more than, say, anyone else on the show who's killed somebody? I know that's kind of a weird thing to say,
No,
but,
I get it.
Literally, Alex Danvers kills tons of people in Aliens. She seemingly has zero qualms about it. A prime example would be the crossover.
every time I already know where you're going with it, and it's so funny.
You can do it. What do you
I mean,
tell me what we're talking about here.
The thing is, and you are very much correct, Jen, Lena, because of her name, if she kills a person who's guilty, or anybody in general, even for self-defense, it's going to be off with their head. She's evil. She's a Luthor. She's the worst. She's the worst. But we have freaking Alex Danvers on this crossover just decapitating people with a gun. Just not decapitating, that's the wrong word. But point blank shooting people in the head. Not with a green beam or a laser thing. Full bullets. Just pow, pow. And like, no fucks given. I mean, that could be why she drinks so much, and that's her vice. But we
That's
don't
never
know.
been an issue. They've never brought it up.
Never been established.
Like literally in the crossover last year, Alex Danvers was shooting people in the head without a thought. And then the next thought she had was like, oh, I slept with Canary. Oh my God, I'm breaking up with Maggie. She never stops to think about, oh, I killed somebody. Even if it was like a Nazi soldier, like that was a foot soldier. That person was misguided and probably had a family, you know, like you know, he was following orders. But like, I'm not explaining anything away. I'm just saying there was a humanity on every side of every angle of life, you know. And Alex, she just freaking kills people all the time, you know. Like, I just feel like it is a giant hypocritical thing to say or do if you're gonna allow one character such huge moral allowances, and then the other character to a double standard.
Yeah.
So there's that. And even like James. I mean, I feel like James probably killed a few people as a guardian.
Oh,
you know, he's always like beating up weed dealers. He probably hit them a little too hard. Oh my God.
We're gonna talk about Lena and Brainy. To be quite fair, going back to that little scene because it gets to how they solve the air crises. I am a little annoyed that they solved the air crisis in a day when it took a whole season to get the fuck rid of Mon-El. And the thing is, if they can clean the air, then guess who the fuck can come back? I'm annoyed. We're not even going to talk about it, but that bothers me. See the problem? And I'm like, so there's that. But I really do like the scene between Kate McGrath and Jesse Roth in that moment of put the boxes down, and that's kind of funny to me. And then right when he does it, I think it's so really good acting where you see him just like swallow it. You literally can see him put that box deep down, and then it just turns off. And you can see him turn off and go, oh, well, that's helpful. And then as soon as he goes, oh, that's helpful, he goes, oh my God, I figured it out. And then because that emotion was clouding his, his mind and his brain. And I just really like that transition of, oh, I got it. We don't need one big vacuum. We need a bunch of tiny ones. And I was like, brilliant. That's awesome. She's like, brilliant. That's awesome. Let's do this, and get down to it. I do wish, though, that they had a little callback scene of maybe them decompressing. Like, maybe Lena going, and now's when you bring the box back up.
I just feel like I wish they'd had a callback scene where they explain what the hell a nanite is. Because I think a nanite is whatever Jack Spear was trying to create last season. Remember Jack Spear, Lena's like first love?
Yes,
a bunch of nanites.
Yeah, he wanted a bunch of nanites to like heal things or whatever, and they pretty much, I'm sure she probably took his technology as soon as he died, and created something more.
I'm sure he probably willed it to her. Just saying.
No, most likely. Oh, sure.
But I'm just saying, like, nanites have been in this world, and they're seemingly like from Big Hero 6, the Disney movie. same concept.
Tie it all together.
Yeah. They do everything. They fix everything. They can kill you. They can not kill you. And in this instance, they clean the air. So that leads us to
Wardrobe of the Week.
This one was pretty clear, wouldn't you say, Adair?
It was pretty clear. Yeah, the outfit, the wardrobe of the week, absolutely.
Take a moment to appreciate this super fly suit. This was the debut episode where we got to see the Power Ranger suit doing that thing it does. We saw it in the teaser at Comic-Con. We all really, really wanted to see Kara fighting in the Power Ranger suit. Kara did have an epic moment where she pulls back the helmet and her hair is just like Pantene Pro V chic. Looks like she just washed it, blow dried it, and just like whooshed it out.
Luxury. That helmet does wonders. I need to get me one of those.
You want to do the second wardrobe of the week?
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you. I am green with envy, much like this shirt that Lena was wearing, because it looked gorgeous on her as usual. I really liked it. It was just like a nice, simple green shirt. Oh, wait. Was that shirt Kara's? You know what? After looking through Twitter, it's confirmed that both Kara and Lena were wearing each other's clothes.
What the fuck? Are you serious?
Jen almost just knocked over her entire setup.
It was like I saw Brenda Strong walk by for a second.
Yeah. Oh, also, this has nothing to do with Wardrobe of the Week, but it's still really funny. On Twitter, there was some pictures of Brenda Strong in glasses. I guess it is kind of a Wardrobe of the Week segment, and Jen almost lost her entire shit.
Yes, I was like, I did like all the hard eyes.
I was like, hey, because she was like, blah, 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 hockey, and I was like, did you see this? And she's like, blah, and just went silent.
Like, Jen, get your jaw off the floor.
Get your jaw off the floor. Because as we all know here at What About Dat, Jen has a thing for mothers.
Guard your mama.
Oh, lock them up. But anyways, that's the
Wardrobe of the week.
I'm so glad we get to spend time with that every week. It's refreshing.
So good.
Okay.
It is refreshing.
Um,
Let's get on to our Jean and Manchester Black, our new character.
Yes.
I'm loving. Okay. Let me just say, I love Papa Space Daddy having a new friend. I'm here for it. I'm happy that any of these characters have new people to play with and talk to other than themselves. I get very bored when it's just the same old, same old. We were wondering what happened to Fiona, and we thought the girl done got killed. And apparently she was kind of killed on life support, I guess. I don't really know. But the bad guys had her the whole time. And what a bummer. What beautiful imagery that we got to see using his telekinesis. I was here for it.
Yeah.
Jen, how are you here for the Manchester?
They always give us the sands of Wakanda in his memories.
Sense of Wakanda in his memory.
They really do.
You're right.
They do. They do.
You're right.
I felt like I was watching a Supergirl show with so much diversity. We had Sean, Manchester Black, Fiona, James. We had a lot of representation on the show.
And it wasn't just we had British African. We had I do believe she's Indian.
Indian, yeah.
Yeah, she's Indian.
It's like, it's refreshing, you know? It's like, oh, this is how it should be, you know? And it was so nice. And I feel like the guy who plays Manchester Black, I don't know his name, but he is a good actor. And I was titillated because he's been on my screen for like 2 seconds and I'm already way more vested in him than I am in James. And it's not like a James versus Manchester kind of thing. Nothing like that. I didn't think to compare the two. I was just like, this guy has had more things to do that are interesting than James does. You know what I mean? True. And it was just like, one of the things I feel about Jean is that they were able to successfully take him out of the DEO and out of his role on the show, and they've been very successful redefining it. Like, week after week, he's not doing something that doesn't involve storyline A or will involve storyline A or isn't important to progressing the story. If anything, he's still a paternal figure to Alex and Kara. He's still relevant, and he's just bringing in he's like been a point for bringing in new and interesting characters like Manchester Black. And I just find that we aren't wasting any time with Jean being on the show. It's almost like when we were watching Winona, everyone was like, is this Nedley's last season? Has he lived his life on the show, or are they going to move on from his character? And then at the very end, they're like, no, we got this whole plan for him. Yeah. I feel like that was Jean. I feel like they have had... I felt that way last season when we saw Jean walking off with the hat. It's almost the perfect show exit where he gets to live and live happily ever after. But no, we actually get to see him participating in the community. And he's really that link between pedestrian and the world of super. And I think they've been really using him as a great tool to bring in these characters. So... yeah. They've been doing all sorts of right by Jean.
I think, and having him kind of using Manchester to help Jean figure out his middle ground is great. And then by figuring out John's middle ground, Manchester's going to go off the deep end after losing Fiona, and I kind of, I think he's gone so pacifist, side. And I think he's going to end up with Manchester going a little bit to the other side and then finding out, getting to that middle and trying to bring Manchester with him. Also, I had had a bit of a laugh, and I guess that was my own internal thing, because the girl who plays Fiona is also on The Bad Place, or I'm sorry, on The Good Place, on the TV show, and that's about people being in heaven and hell. So the fact that her character in The Good Place is actually in hell made me giggle, because when she died, I was like, well, I already know where she's going. So I just gotta, it made me giggle, but it was definitely a sad moment when the character Fiona died, but I got a bit of a chuckle.
My only problem with that is that it feels like Fiona existed just to perpetuate the character of Manchester Black's storyline. Like a woman dying so a man can become his best or worst self in a story. It's just like we always get to see the woman die violently or painfully, or die for the sake of the man's story growing and being bigger than her own. And I feel like that's exactly what they gave us. And that's the opposite of feminist. That is a trope. That is a chauvinist trope that we see in horror films, and we see often in like adventure flicks, the girl dying so the guy can realize his path in life and become the ultimate badass or whatever. So I was annoyed with that, actually. It was like, they could have done better by Fiona. Why even bring her in if she's just going to die horribly so Manchester Black can have pain? And the thing
That's literally what I said.
I just felt like I didn't even care as much about Manchester Black as I did with Fiona, who had a more of a connection to Jean from the beginning. So losing Fiona felt more heavy than Manchester Black finding himself, opposed to the alien sentimist or nativist. Yeah. So I'm a little annoyed with that, because it's just like, I wish Supergirl had the sense of self-awareness to catch themselves when they are perpetuating this kind of trope. Go on.
No, absolutely. And I think that it's kind of a running thing right now, as it always is in Supergirl, but, use the girl as the plot device and things like that. Like right now, we have Nia Nal, who's amazing and wonderful, pretty much kind of being a plot device for James, which, okay, we're going to take this moment to just say that James is greatly becoming the new Mon-El, and in the idea of him being toxic and kind of an asshole. James right now is being an asshole. He's finally flawed, I guess. I mean, before he only had the flaw of being boring, but now it's just like one thing after another. He is directly and indirectly and all these things just arrogant. We
finally nailed his flaw. We were asking this question weeks ago.
Yeah.
His character flaw is that he's arrogant.
It is. I don't understand how this character's working anymore. You're either going to be DEO, or he wasn't even DEO. He was just Guardian who happened to help out, but he was never DEO. He's Catco. He's a photographer. He's not even a journalist. He's a photographer. He's supposed to be taking care of Catco. We don't know why. Somebody else should come back in. Bring Snapper Carr back. I liked him.
Snapper Carr could have done a better job being the journalist representation CEO of Catco.
Right now, James is a liability to Catco. He's a liability to the DEO. He's a liability to his friends, like Angelina, and all these things. It's like...
Right.
That's why I say now, Nia Nal, her character is only perpetuating, making sure that we see how messed up he is. And it's kind of like, really? I don't know. It's just kind of annoying.
I just feel like, that James is a liability to... Well, let's just continue with this. So the problem with this episode was that James is not... He's a vigilante, but he doesn't work for anybody. He is not contracted with the DEO. And one of the things I caught was that he was in a scene with Lena and Alex. He was there at the DEO. Why would you have the CEO of Catco, who could, if he's present at the DEO, basically get the scoop from a black ops, from an off-charted element of the government, there being exposed to all of this FBI confidential sector department, Why was he involved? He's not an employee. He doesn't work there. Did he tag along with Lena because she actually had a job to do there? So it just felt like it was frustrating in this episode, because we finally got to identify what his flaw was. And James is arrogant, and what's his flaw? In this episode, he specifically didn't listen to women. He doesn't listen to women. Lena warned James about being the guardian when James was having a personal problem with the district attorney. She's like, "This is a bigger thing. You should take it seriously." James is like, "My lawyer's figuring it out. I'm gonna still be the guardian," And then Nia Nal, James's underling, James is the newest employee at Catco, has the fortitude to just warn him, in the workplace. That's her boss. That's a harder conversation to have. He still doesn't listen to her. And he, with all this bravado, talks about how a hero runs towards danger, blah, 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 whatever. I don't care. It didn't stick with me. I'll have to quote Melinda, totally Melinda. She probably knows exactly what James said. But, I just feel like, the main issue I'm seeing with James, which equates to Lames, the shipper pairing Lena and James, Guardian Corp, everyone calls them Lames.
I'm not sorry.
Is that it feels that this relationship isn't really progressing Lena Luthor as a character, and it's also not
or James
really
as a character.
Progressing James. And in this episode, I felt like there was an astounding lack of Lames interaction. Even in the moments where they're both in the same room, in the very beginning, Lena's there taking care of Kara in her Power Ranger suit. James is there. They're literally standing side by side for the first couple of minutes in the episode. You would never know if you turned off the sound that they were a couple. Because it's just like they look like coworkers. It's just so cold. But anyways, I don't need to shit on James because I'm sure
it's being
Twitter is doing it for me. So go on ahead.
Yeah, I think right now I get exactly what you mean. A lot about it's just hard because James had such the potential to be good, and how they're using John and moving on his story and progressing his story. They just don't know what to do with James. I mean, I personally would love him to be a badass reporter, photographer, whatever, like the head of Catco. Be the head of Catco. And it's just because he feels inadequate as a man and whatever he's doing that he doesn't want to give up Guardian, or he doesn't want to listen to anybody. He wants to prove it until it absolutely hurts him. Right now, he's not even helping anybody. He's being a detriment to everybody, including himself, and he just refuses to see it. So, excuse me.
I think James Olsen, here's the thing. They're going to be doing a crossover called Other Worlds or Else Worlds, where everybody's backwards day, you wear your shirt inside out, wear the other person's costume, other person's chonies, whatever. You smell like them, you look like them, you get the haircut done like them, whatever.
Does that mean we get Supercorp in this AU, apparently?
You know what?
Because that'd be hilarious.
I don't know. But I do know that they're bringing in Superman, and his whole other world is he's wearing like an all-black suit. I think Kara's also wearing an all-black suit. I think that what they're doing with this Other World, Else World, that's what it's called, is that they're testing the waters to see if there is an audience for a Superman show, which is fine because they've casted Lois, they have Superman, and honestly, I think at this point it would behoove Mercad and the character James Olsen to leave the mythos of Supergirl and go into Superman. So it would be a really good opportunity to transition this character, who's not really working in the scope of the universe, over to that other show, whilst bringing in his sister Kelly to bang Alex. Done.
True. I think it actually might be very smart for Mercad to go, because he's also starting to make a lot of trouble for himself within the Supergirl fandoms and things like that by just not keeping his mouth closed, and it might behoove him to move to another show or for the company to move.
Well, it just makes sense to have James Olsen in the world of Superman.
Go with his best friend. Go.
Go be a photographer, dude. The CEO business, it's just not you, man.
And speaking of dreams and things that like hopes and futures and all this other stuff, we have Nia Nal in this episode who was once again kind of crushing it because she's like, hey, James, she's the the groundingness. She's like a little tiny Cat Grant. I wouldn't even call her a little bit of a Kara. I know that's how they framed her, but she's more of a Cat Grant. She's way more ballsy
Yeah.
than Kara was.
She is way more ballsy. I give you that for like seeing that in here. I agree with you actually quite a bit. I actually think like Nia Null is a great new character, and like
Absolutely.
season after season, you know, like I think season 3 was a shit show, and they didn't bring anybody really interesting into the show, but they did bring Rain, Sam Arias, and I thought she was
Ugh, I miss her
she was
so
my
much.
favorite character, and she's who I would have kept around as another super like trying to make peace with killing her mother.
To be fair, they did want to keep her, but Odette had to leave because her husband had something going on, so she had to go back home for that. But they absolutely wanted to keep Odette. That's why they were setting up the whole Agent Sam thing.
Well, I loved Sam. I thought she was a great addition. She's somebody who came into the show and made it interesting in every episode she was in. Like, I found myself, like, looking for Sam scenes. But, you know, like, she's a person who could stick around. Lillian Luther could stick around for all the seasons of Supergirl and become forever.
She just got a show. So
She did.
might
I'm
not
so
be
sad
back.
about it. I'm going to watch the show, though.
But Nia Null.
Nia Null, back to her. Nia Null and Brainiac, they just joined the cast this season. I love both of them. They have done nothing wrong, and everything they do is interesting and fun and new. And Brainiac is not the new Win. Brainiac is Brainiac, and I love his emotions. But, like, it's just like this one character, they just cannot resuscitate out of the black hole of bad writing. You know?
I like Nia because she's really a good glue. Like, there are some characters who tie everybody together. And not very well. They make them kind of like, oh, they're just a plot device. Sometimes they are. But I feel like, okay, Nia and James, okay, we get... Really, he's actually a catalyst for her, where we're seeing how her dream powers work. And why she's going to be called Dreamer.
I almost feel
which I
like
think is great.
if you had Supergirl be a show, but Melissa Benoist left the show, Supergirl goes into space, she goes home or something, right? You could do a whole season of Nia Null acting the role of Supergirl, and I would be fine. Keep everybody else the main, but Nia Null could literally inherit the show and be the Supergirl part 2. Like, you know how Batman has Dark Knight or Batwing, or what's the Robin's other alias?
Well, yeah, Nightwing.
Nightwing. Robin becomes Nightwing. I feel like Nia Null is a Nightwing to Kara Danvers, and I love it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Her and Brainy and possible relationship there.
And like Lena sciencing the shit out of stuff still, but she, you know, she goes with Kara into the future too.
I think she's like a taffy, not like a glue, but I feel like Nia's like a good taffy that kind of gets in the seams of everybody and is going to be such a positive.
She's interesting,
character
you
for
know.
everybody.
She's just interesting. She has her secret, and I love it. So okay.
Also, can we just say that we love the fact that Guardian's now being used as a political prop by the multiracial alien outright?
Yeah.
Like, this is what you get for not listening.
I just feel like at the end of the day, I wish they would have scripted it. Just been like, I told you so, motherfucker. You know, like give that line to Nia or Lena. The I told you so.
Yeah. Or even just a look like I told you so.
Because what that does is it empowers the female voice. You know, instead of just being like James is an asshole for not listening to women, it's like, you didn't listen to me. I took my voice back. So yeah, in that regard.
Or even like something where James is like, damn, you're right. Like, I messed up. Take even ownership that he wasn't listening, and it's like I was being pigheaded. Whoops.
No, he doesn't have to
Anyways.
be perfect and recognize his faults. I just feel like. I feel like keep being an asshole, James. You're defining yourself, I guess.
You're right.
Whatever.
Speaking of people who are ruining their own lives, let's talk about these villains.
All right. Okay, so we have, in this episode, we had a whole bench of villains. Agent
Just a whole
Liberty,
roster.
Mercy Graves, Otis Graves, Agent Jensen. Okay.
Jensen? It's not ginseng like the herb.
I'm
It's
from the Midwest.
Jensen.
I can't even, pronounce things really well. Just kidding. I'm not. I just still can't pronounce things.
She's from California.
Okay, so
Mercy Graves.
Mercy Graves and Otis Graves. Was it too soon? The death?
For their death?
Yeah, I think so. Oh my god.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We were like, oh, they're dead.
I just feel like it's atrocious because I feel like as much as you want to have these villains and they're pulling them from the comic, every time you kill one, you can't ever go back to them and make them stronger, interesting, better. You know, it's like, put him in jail. Why do you have to kill him? Because the Supergirl world needs its villains, you know? Like, you need Mercy Graves has such a huge storyline in the comics that revolves around bringing Lex Luthor into the world. And she is so close to the family. Like, Mercy Graves being dead should be a huge thing to Lena Luthor, who considered her an older sister. Unless that was just all plot poop, you know, for us to, like, feel bad for Lena in the moment, you know? But I need to see a follow-up to that, to the deaths of Mercy and Otis. I always predicted Otis would die, but I thought Mercy would be there opening the cell as Lex Luthor got out of jail.
I thought that they were going to... I definitely think that they should have killed Otis. Mercy should have seen it. Also, that would have stoked her fire of rage. But then also got arrested by Alex. And then we see her maybe going into the cell where Lex would be. Like, that would have been a cool way to... Not even on this episode, just on a feature episode. Cool way to introduce Lex getting out of jail when he walks past, maybe in a holding area, Mercy.
Yeah.
And we see that kind of like, he sees her, she sees him, and that could set up something later for her to get out. I think that it would have been so much more powerful for her knowing her brother's dead and to really...
I agree, unleash that Mercy Graves. But also, I saw Mercy Graves as, like, you know, Kill Bill? How, like, they have the nurse, and they have, like, that whole song where she's, like, the nurse. She's, like, the crazy, demented nurse, and she gets in that mad fight with the bride. I feel like Mercy Graves was one of the big bosses that was going to get killed or put in jail or whatever, but that was a bigger boss fight. That was a mech fight, you know? And
yeah, it was a mech fight.
And it was totally a missed opportunity to cash in on that, which just tells us that they have a lot of confidence in what they're going to do in the next part of the season. Mid finale, they have Elseworld, and they have Lex Luthor, and then they have the final chapter of the finale. So they probably had too many villains again this season. But I just feel like, why even kill him? Just put him in the DEO jail and bring him back in another season.
I'm a little annoyed because they chose to kill Mercy and Otis, who were very, very popular. A lot of people like them, to keep around Agent Jensen. And, well, yes, but they're going with the whole Parasite storyline again. They already had that in season 1. Was it season 1 or season 2? I can't remember. Where we already got somebody who was a parasite, who had this thing in them, who was as strong as Supergirl and you know, could mimic and all. Like, this is literally a recycled storyline. So why even do that? Like, have Mercy, have Otis still, who were actually really good villains, because she really was getting her ass kicked by him. Mm-hmm. Like, every time they were out, she was really having a tough time. Agent Liberty wasn't really doing all the pain.
He's not a fighter.
It was those two. He's not a fighter. He likes to he's a good manipulator, but he's not a fighter. And so to have this seemingly kind of fake Bane type character where it's like, I was nothing until you put this stuff in me, and now I'm this big... we've done it already. We've already done it.
I agree with you, because they really teased Agent... They didn't tell us... Okay. I agree with you because they teased the shit out of Mercy and Otis. And we didn't even know that Agent Jensen was going to be this big bad. We had no fucking clue. And I just feel like Agent Jensen doesn't live in the lore of Superman or Supergirl. He's just some fool they just made up. And you kill, like, actual name villains. Yeah, you kill canon characters to perpetuate this nobody character who's going to get killed. To do a tired villain, tropey as fuck storyline.
Something that we've literally already done on this show. It's not even
I wanted to see Mercy and Lex. I wanted to see Mercy, what she means to Lex. I was shipping Lex and Mercy. Like, oh, she's a sister to Lena Luthor who's also banging her brother. I get it. I'm with it. I love how evil this is. You know, that's who Mercy is. She's the Ann Coulter with a gun, you know? And that's she had both the ideology and the fighting ability. She could kick Lena Luthor's ass, and she could outsmart Supergirl. And Otis was like the muscle, and just without that, you really lose now we're fighting putties.
Yeah.
You're losing villains that were important. So
Yeah.
I hope they have a plan, because you know what, Manchester's Black is a great character, and I can't wait to see him fight. But who's he gonna fight? Agent Ginseng? I don't give a shit about that. So,
Well, I think now he's going after Liberty. Ancient.
well, he's
Agent
going
Liberty.
after Liberty, but like, he's got to fight some other people. But he's gonna be fighting putties. He's not gonna be fighting.
Did you see that whole arms deal that he bought? He's like, I'm gonna take the whole lot. It's like, oh
He's
god,
gonna be
he's gonna kill
shooting
everybody.
putties, meaningless.
What do you think about him
extras.
potentially becoming a villain?
I feel like I like the setup. I like the setup as much as I like the setup for Agent Liberty. I like Manchester Black better.
Yeah.
It's the accent. It's hot. Um,
Yeah.
I
I'm
like
here
the
for it.
dichotomy between him and Jean, and it almost feels like Manchester. I could really see Manchester Black. I hate to say this. This is gonna sound terrible. I find Manchester Batlack's charisma so much more interesting already that I could see him joining Super Team at the DEO as being a bad guy who flips to good and joins Team Supergirl. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I could see him doing that and having more of a place than James Asgardian does on the team.
Oh, 100%. You know who he actually was already reminding me of? Who, a character that I cannot wait comes back. I hope she does. Sai. Where, you are a bad guy and you have this, but then you do have a heart of gold. Or like, what was her name? The, electricity.
Oh, Livewire.
Yeah, like Livewire, where it's like, we might not have you all the time, but you'll come back to help when it's important. Or like the DEO will come up against him occasionally, and it's always this back and forth of like living in the gray.
Yeah.
Very much, possibly even a setup for Checkmate.
No, I would love that. Because, here's the thing. They did it again with Livewire, where they kill Livewire for no fucking reason, after they had slowly developed this character through the season, so it's always fun to see her come back. Like, Xena did this really well. They had, what's his name, Bruce Campbell, come on as the King of Thieves, and he'd be on, for, a couple of seasons. He'd be on for, 3 episodes and do a story arc, and then he'd show up a season later somewhere else in his life. But it was always fun to call back to this Bruce Campbell, King of Thieves character who could live in the world of Hercules and Xena, and they did a great job of bringing these guys, recycling him back, and his trouble became Xena's trouble, and they'd go on a quest together.
And it stayed fresh.
It did, and I felt like Livewire could have been that, and so could have Mercy Graves and Otis as just these bad guys who show up with some shit every now and then, give Kara some trouble, but then, move off. I need that. You can't kill everybody.
I think that's what Manchester's gonna end up doing, and I think that's pretty good.
I would love to see Side back in that capacity. You talked about it real quick.
Exactly.
If they wanted to grow Supergirl into a Legends-esque show, which I don't think you can. Well, maybe.
No, you can't make it that silly.
No, not silly, but making it into more of an ensemble. If you had to say, okay, who's on the team? I think that Manel's too polarizing. He's almost like Supergirl with his own ensemble team. He needs his own show. But you could be like, okay, let's look at the slate of characters. Let's do Supergirl, Brainiac. Let's do Psy. Let's do Manchester Black. Those would be interesting supporting characters who would give the world depth and a richness in background. Let's do John Jones. And Alex Danvers. That'd be a great team.
Obviously.
So just throwing that out there.
And I think that you do need layers of kind of 3 tiers of characters. You have your main, Super, Alex, Jean. Fine. Those are your 3.
No, you have James
they're
too.
a family.
He's the main as well.
Well, no. I say that those 3 are the main because, they actually have something going on in their lives. And then you have supporting, which would be James and Lena. Even though we love Lena and we would want her to be regular, really, I feel like she is a support because she's, she's the Luthor, whatever. Then you have Brainy, who is also the support would be Brainy, okay? And then we have Nia Nal, who is slowly coming up in the ranks. And then we have the middle characters, the Manchesters, the Sais, the ones that can literally go in and out, who are good. Even Katniss, even Lillian Luthor, she's a bad guy.
You're talking about reoccurring.
Well, yeah, I'm just talking about reoccurring who could pop in ever so often, maybe start some trouble, maybe help, but it's never a good or bad. They're just like there, and it kind of could be a plot device, but also can be very interesting. And then you have like people we just don't need. You know, we don't need a Rhea, we don't need a Monel, we don't need other people, we don't need a Win, you know, that kind of thing. But it'd be kind of fun to find characters who we can learn more about one episode, never see for another season. They come back and we're still like, oh, hey, that's awesome. I'm glad you're there. But it can get stuffy, man. Like, I don't know. I'm here for it. But let us move on and get to our questions. What about these questions? Jen, do you have any questions for the audience regarding this week, you know, and this episode?
Okay. So my questions for the audience regarding this week. I guess, what were your expectations regarding the Power Ranger suit? Would you like to see more of it, or are you done with it?
Yeah. I have a question what we kind of talked about, but how long do you think John's going to remain peaceful? You know? Do you think it's going to be dragged out all season, or he's going to get over it pretty quickly? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also, I don't know. Do you have any other questions for him? Or?
When will Lena Luthor find out Kara's Supergirl, or does she already know?
Yeah, what are your thoughts? That'd be kind of interesting. Also, I think my last one that I have for you guys is, when do you think Alex is going to really balance out being a leader at the DO? Like, how do you think this whole having a babysitter situation with the captain and all that stuff is going to work out? You know, because that seems like it's going to be pretty shitty.
Oh, I got one more question. What is the implications of James becoming what do you think the consequence will be for James becoming a leader of the alt-right movement?
Yeah, so make sure that you guys comment on our YouTube, on our iTunes, our Twitter. We read all these things, and I would love to start a dialogue, like more conversation about it, because these are some crazy times going on. Jen, let's get into what about Doe's predictions.
Okay. I predict. What do you predict? I don't know yet.
I know, it's kind of interesting because this week is kind of like meh. It was kind of.
Well,
meh
I didn't
episode,
really
so
see
my
like the
predictions-
trailer for the next episode, so I don't really have any idea what's going to happen.
Oh, I didn't either, but I'm actually just thinking about the whole season as far as my prediction is. I'm really hoping that Neonal, you know, I'm just predicting that in the next episode there'll be a lot more understanding about her dream stuff. It's going to be coming to light. I have a prediction that on the heels of hearing about the, alt-right movement, Guardian is going to be in some hot-ass water, which means I think that we're going to get a new character coming into the Catcom.
Do you think that we're going to have a breakup between James and Lena?
Hopefully
Do
soon.
you,
I mean,
do you think
God,
it's going to
God.
happen in the early half of the season, or what do you think that's happening? What's your prediction on that?
I think that it's going to be a
Do you
slow
think they're headed for a breakup?
Yeah, no, they definitely are. But I think it's going to be a few things. Much like how Lena did not tell James that she helped him, be out of jail. He's going to probably get upset or taken away due to the Guardian stuff. And I think out of time, distance, and space, they're just going to realize that they're just not meant for each other. Like, hey, there are some relationships that don't end in fights or breakups that are like dramatic. Sometimes you just go, we are not in the same spot right now. I think it's cool that we just remain coworkers or whatever, and I think that's kind of where they're heading, because this seems ridiculous a little bit.
I don't know. I feel like it's so, like, there's such a lack of chemistry that I forget they're even a thing. Like I don't know, I guess I see such a lack of interaction that I don't even, there's no indication. If you turn the sound down, you would know they're a couple. So it doesn't really bother me so much. But I was just wondering if you think that was going to happen. I guess, I think there's an episode called, like, Truth or Lies or Secret or Lies, and that's supposed to be a heavy, we'll find some answers out in episode 6 coming up about the status of that relationship. I don't know why it bothers me, but it just does. I guess.
Because it's absolutely silly.
Yeah. I just felt like it was done so to, like, it's incited so much rage within the fandom that I wish it would just go away.
True.
Yeah, okay. So my predictions is that it
What
will
do you
go
guys
away
think?
probably in about, by episode 6 to 10, we'll see an end of Lames. That's my thought.
Yeah. What do you guys think? What are some of your predictions out there? Make sure you go to our YouTube and let us know. Jen, what was your scale, your rating for this episode? Scale of 1 to 10.
5.5.
Oof,
Not
yeah.
enough Lena, Supercorp, and Traction, and I hate Lames, so it's always going to have
Honestly,
a point difference between us, like,
I get it.
full point difference, because that exists.
I gave it a 6 because I like Neonal and the Brainy and Lena stuff really got me, and Alex was really great.
She was great.
Those are the strongest things. Oh, and Manchester. I liked Manchester.
I like the power
but
suit.
But I also can say I'm being a little generous. It might have been like a 5 3/4 kind of.
I'd give it a half, 5.5.
but,
I was being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. Any announcements or things that you want to talk about that we got going on this week? Not much, really. We're just gonna be putting these casts up. If you guys are not listening, check out our Charmed review. The show is not as bad as you think it is. It's actually pretty good.
We like Charms so
Seriously.
much.
It's good. I mean, I used to watch the old ones, and I'm here for it. The new ones, it's coming along. So
Plugging in,
make sure
checking.
you guys stick with that. And I am still working on my legend stuff. Trust me, it's gonna get there. I think I'm gonna do a bit of a new format with it from what I was trying to do, which wasn't working. So stick tuned for that. It will be showing up probably in the next 4 or 5 days. All right. So, Jen, any words to the folks out there?
Yeah, remember to like and subscribe to us. Hit us up on Twitter. And also, that's it.
Thanks for sticking around, guys. The time has come. I hope you guys enjoy our reading of We're Over.
We're Over by This Is Anna 47. Summary. Lena breaks up with James and he blames it all on Kara. Lena finds herself at Kara's door.
Is this because of Kara?
You know this hasn't been working for a while, James. We've been drifting apart for weeks now. I'm just doing what's right for me.
Yeah, and by what's right for you, you mean you're gonna end up in Kara's bed by the end of the week.
Leave her out of it. What did she do to you, huh?
She stole my girlfriend away from me. That's what she did.
I said it before and I'll say it again. We've been drifting apart. Any feelings that I may have had for Kara are irrelevant.
We haven't been drifting apart. You're wrong.
James, are you blind? I've only been to events for the sake of appearances. You've got to notice that we've hardly spent any time together recently.
We had lunch together 2 days ago.
Yes, because you trapped me before I could get to Kara's desk.
How did I trap you, Lena?
You know what? I don't have to deal with this. We are over. I don't have to be here. Goodbye, James.
Lena headed for the door, where she put on her jacket and left, leaving a distraught James behind her. Lena didn't really know where to go. She couldn't just go home, but she didn't want to be alone. She can go to a bar, but she didn't want to be around strangers. She wanted to go to Kara's, but she knew that she probably shouldn't. Not this soon at any rate. But her body moved on autopilot to pick up a couple of servings of pot stickers before knocking on a familiar door. A familiar face opened the door with a kind smile to welcome her in.
I wasn't expecting you to be here tonight. Weren't you supposed to be with James?
I was with him. I broke up with him earlier.
Are you okay?
That's the thing. I'm fine. I was over him before we even broke up. I'm in love with someone else, and I can't deny myself any longer.
Kara led them both down to the couch where they both started to eat.
So who is it?
Said Kara, around a mouthful.
It's you.
Really?
Of course, Kara. I swear, everyone except for you and James can tell.
That sounds about right. I can be a tad oblivious.
You can. But I love that about you.
Oh, Lena, I love you.
Said Kara as she pulled Lena into a tight embrace. Kara dropped a quick kiss to Lena's neck before pulling away, staring into Lena's eyes.
I love you too.
Lena leant in and left a swift kiss on Kara's lips.
Do you want to grab a drink sometime?
I'd love to.
And scene.